Raidou's life is a walking meme, so of course I was excited to watch this newest episode of Aharen, and the reason this is a couple of days late is there's been a lot of construction going on around me and in my building, so unfortunately when I was about to watch the latest episode on Friday, a lot of shit started happening that was far too noisy, so I decided to push it off a little bit, and honestly man, just watching this show brings a giant grin to my face. I've said it a couple of different times, and I still firmly feel this way. If it wasn't for Spy Family, this would be my favorite new show of the season. It makes me laugh, I love the duo, and I love how they play off of previous jokes and extend them far longer than I anticipated, with my favorite being, without a doubt, all the things that surround Raidou when he sleeps. To begin, I thought it was just like a cute thing, like, oh, you know, she won a bunch of prizes, so yeah, he's gonna sleep around with them. It's a little comfortable for the guy, but, you know, it's a sweet gesture. And then the fact that there's a second, and now the fact that he has a living Aharen that watches over him as he sleeps. Even though it's not technically her, it is so lifelike, he's never gonna sleep again. If the man just like put her in the closet or something, he'd be alright, but because he feels like he needs to, you know, appreciate the gifts, you know, it's just, you never would have thought that that's not a lie, that Aharen watches Raidou when he sleeps, but that's actually the truth. But this show never fails to blow me away with how it ups the ante of the memes, but have it feel like they still are bonding all in the process. I love the fact that there's this competitive nature with Raidou. I truly don't think he'll ever beat her more than like a handful of times total throughout this entire run. And I'm talking like even the manga as well, right? I mean, he technically beat her in like last week's episode or the week before, I forget, because I did a double review. But ultimately with the whole basketball thing, right, he technically won there. But he's going to win like 5 times total probably in their entire relationship. The fact that, you know, he's still trying, even in the most basic of children's card games like Old Maid, he can't win because he overthinks. He overanalyzes shit that's not there. And he, like literally a blind man would have been able to tell where the Joker was because she freaked out when you touched it. But he overanalyzes it and thinks that's her trying to outplay him, when really the only reason she beats him is because he overthinks. And whenever they compete against other people, they beat them because they just kind of suck, right? And it makes it so fun because rather than just keeping it like just them, sometimes they'll have other side characters who we don't necessarily even know the names of, but just other classmates, and in return it just makes it a lot more organic, as if even though they're the central focus, the chaotic energy they radiate, it's gonna suck in other people like a wormhole. And just to see the number of things that made me laugh, whether it was the thug life and just him thinking like, you know, she's now a delinquent, she's gonna start skipping school, she might kick his ass, or even though it wasn't a direct Death Stranding reference given when the manga came out sort of a thing, though maybe when this chapter released Death Stranding was already out, it's hard to say. But the fact that he's carrying her around basically like, you know, the main character in Death Stranding does with all his cargo, and sometimes you actually do carry people, living or dead, in a similar way, so it was pretty great to see. And just the way they can turn such simple ideas like basically she forgets her lunch so she needs to go buy it. A normal person would recognize she has a very soft-spoken voice, so therefore tell me what you want and I'll get it for you, right? Because therefore, no issues. But no, he'll get her through the line, and then because no one can hear her, they'll go out of the line, and then she'll crowd surf, and then it's just this wild ride just to get a melon bun. And then of course, yeah, the dog's gonna bring her her lunch. This show's so stupid in the best possible way. Like, that's not an insult in the slightest. This show knows how ludicrous it is, but it rolls with it so well. And even just the simple, like, ongoing gag with this little girl who continues to threaten my boy with calling the police. He's such a nice guy, and he's constantly being harassed by her. But the fact that she's continuing to try to say thank you, but she feels like Aharen's trying to steal her wannabe boyfriend when, you know, she's, like, literally just being nice, teaching her how to cook after basically, you know, just showing she can't mix flavors whatsoever. And I love the fact that she even has like the nerve to say they poisoned her because like therefore the lunch she made ended up poisoning the boy. But it's like, no, you used a leftover lunch. It has to be fresh or it'll spoil. Like, that's what I love about this, is that even when it's set just in the school or the park, which is what this episode was focused on, it still finds new ways to up the ante, which I really, really love. And I think I said it within the first couple of videos of this series, that, 12 episodes easy. Could also see myself 24 episodes easy watching these antics. I'm up to the point of I could watch 5 cours of this, and that might sound extreme to some people who are just casually watching and enjoying it, or thinking that's too much, but there's certain shows that I can tell that the mangaka could clearly make 300, 400 situations and have it be fantastic for these characters. And that's what I love about it, because this man truly does care about her, and she truly does care about him. This is actually one of the first times that we truly, saw her blush. More than once, actually, in this episode, towards him just, staring at her and stuff. You can tell the chemistry's there. You can tell, they truly just have each other's backs, and the things that make them embarrass or go over the top, whether they're referencing other series or they're just doing their own weird shit, they just constantly have fun with this, and it really is like a comedy series with that slight hint of romance that's not overbearing, might not even technically be there by the time this first season ends, right? But I love the fact that it's just built on great comedy design, fantastic interactions, and I'm glad that Raidou is the main focus. The most internal thoughts we hear is from him. It's not like we go inside her head more often than not. So I like the fact that he's the driving force, because he even has these remarks where he'll recognize, I'm bad at overreacting. I think the worst, I over-exaggerate, and it's my biggest downfall. And then a second later, he'll do the exact same thing that he's criticizing himself about. And that's what's fun about it, because this show is self-aware. The characters are fairly self-aware. And even though I wouldn't think a girl who can't draw, can't sculpt, can't do anything seemingly, would be able to make a lifelike version of herself, leave it to this show to prove me wrong. At this point, I have no idea where this season will actually end. I mean, there's been recently festival episodes and stuff that, usually you'd see at the end of a show, popping up at the midway point. So maybe they'll do festival, maybe they'll do a holiday episode to wrap it up. But I'm hoping there will be something at least extreme, like an amusement park, or, something in that ballpark. Movie theater kind of works, but I think an amusement park, there's just so much meme possibilities with these two interacting, or a fair, something like that. I just want to see something in that range, even if it's not exact, just that extreme, because seeing them spice up a bowling alley or an arcade alone was amazing. Give them 12 possibilities at a moment's notice, and we're just a recipe for success, the recipe of the agent. But I love this show, man. I really, really do. But thoughts, if you have any, what are you thinking of it now that we're 7 episodes in? We're over halfway. It's kind of crazy because this episode and just series in general has flown by for me. So thoughts, if you have any, leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.